We're here at Lake Major, a big source of water for communities like Dartmouth and Cole Harbour. Halifax Water has been asking people to voluntarily cut back on the amount of water they use, but is now looking at making that mandatory. I'm here with Brittany Smith, a spokesperson for Halifax Water. So when might these mandatory measures come into effect?
We're looking at implementing these in the area in the coming days.
And when you look at Lake Major, how different is it from what a normal level would be?
We're down approximately 1 meter compared to a normal level. It's been such a dry summer, and we're also not getting the good snow in the winter to replenish the lake, so therefore we're about 1 meter lower.
And with it 1 meter lower, how does that impact the water table and how much water people can access?
So that's why we'll be implementing our mandatory restrictions to hopefully allow the lake to regenerate, hopefully get a lot of rain, and then we'll be able to lift those measures.
Well, what do you want people not to do?
So anywhere they can conserve, but really focusing on cutting back those unnecessary usages, like watering your lawn, washing your car, filling your pool. Those take a lot of water and aren't really that necessary. So, and being really mindful of the water you are using. People typically use 215 liters of water a day. Any way people can cut back is really appreciated.
Now, when you asked for it to be done voluntarily, I'm assuming you didn't notice much of a change?
Yeah, we haven't been seeing much of a difference. It's hot, people are using their water more, they're using their sprinklers, so we're not seeing a big difference there.
What about businesses like, say, a car wash? So obviously, they're using a lot of water. Will they be restricted as well?
We've heard that car washes use recycled water, so we're really starting to ask our customers in our stage 1 mandatory to cut back on a mandatory level, but as we progress, we'll need to look at our high consumption users and see what they're using and see if they can cut back as well.
Mm-hmm. So you're talking about doing this in phases. Does that mean it becomes mandatory but not enforced for a little bit? How does that work?
So we're working on what enforcement looks like. It's going to start at mandatory for the consumers and our businesses, but then we'll have to look to see what other restrictions we can put into place if things do not continue to rise here.
Mm-hmm. How do you enforce that?
So we're working with HRM to see how we can enforce that. It could be maybe a fine, or we don't want it to ever get there, but we could be able to cut people's water off.
Okay. I know with the fire bans and that sort of thing, they've issued $1 million in fines, but only collected about 12% of that. Do you think just more of a deterrent to say, please don't do it, or you could be fined, or do you think it will be enforced?
We'll have to work with the city to determine exactly what that looks like, but we're really hoping we don't have to fine anybody, that people will just start cutting back naturally. We're also moving into the fall where people aren't really going to be doing those outside activities, but to be really mindful of their consumption usage.
Now, the mandatory ban on some of these practices, will this be HRM-wide?
We're still determining that. Dartmouth is a lot more susceptible to the drought-like conditions, so we're determining now if it will be for all of HRM or solely just the Dartmouth-Cole Harbour area.
Well, why is Lake Major different than Pockwock?
Yeah, so Lake Major is more susceptible to the drought. Our intake system is in a lot shallower part of the lake, therefore we can't get that water out when there's still plenty of water in the lake, but unfortunately where the intake is at, it's more susceptible to drought-like conditions.
Well, we were chatting earlier, you were saying it's like a short straw and a tall glass.
Yeah, so we got our tall glass, and here at Lake Major, our straw can't get to the bottom of the lake, so therefore we can't be utilizing all the lake water. We do have a plan in place to be able to get that into a deeper part of the lake, but that's going to take some time.
And Pockwock has a longer straw, you'd say?
And it's in a deeper part of the lake, so they do have that longer straw, and they're in a deeper part of the lake.
And, climate change is here to stay. So what is Halifax Water looking at down the road? Because we could be in this situation for more than one summer.
Yeah, it's also important that customers are doing this all year round. It's not just in the summer when it's really dry. People can be conserving water all year round to help.
And any thoughts on when the mandatory measures might be lifted?
We need a lot of rain and a significant period of time. Unfortunately, 10, 20 millimeters a day isn't really helpful when it's every couple of weeks. We need that kind of every day for a prolonged period of time.
So you're just going to be monitoring the weather and the levels and go from there?
And consumption levels, of course. So if our demand comes down, and we're able to buy a few more days or a few more weeks until we have to go to that next stage.
Have you seen it like this level before?
It was low last fall, just because we didn't get that. We're not getting those winters anymore, but not like this last summer.
All right, well, thanks so much for your time. We do appreciate it.
Thank you.